Are you a crafter or a maker looking to make a little bit of extra cash by selling the things that you make? Have you thought about doing craft fairs, but have no idea really where to start? Well, I'm here to help. I have done exactly 2 craft fairs, so I'm basically an expert at this point. But really, I figured I would just share my process for prepping for a craft fair so that you can see what I do and maybe decide how to do it better. Also, I hope there are a lot more experienced craft fairers, sellers, who will chime in with suggestions on how to make this process even better. Hey folks, welcome back. Let's get ready for a craft fair. Now, a disclaimer, I only do 1 craft show a year. 1. And I've only done it 2 years in a row. And the big reason for that is they're a lot of work. And right now, I just don't have the extra time to spend constantly prepping for craft fairs. But this one market that I do every year is just about perfect. It's 3 weeks before Christmas, so everyone is out looking for gifts. It's indoors, so it's completely climate controlled, and I don't have to worry about the weather. It's only 5 minutes from my house, so if I forget something, I can call up my husband and ask him to help with that. And it's only on a Saturday, which means I still have a Sunday to relax a little bit before I have to go back to work the next day. However, every other year that I've done this, I really haven't started prepping until about November, which means that I am constantly rushed, and my Thanksgiving break is usually me making things as quickly as possible. So here I am in August trying to get ready. So in order to best help you guys and get myself started, I figured I would just walk you through some of the steps that I do, and we're gonna see if this helps come December. Because I tend to make things all year long and I put them away and forget that I made them, my very first step is to take inventory. I want to see what I already have made, how many of those things I have, and if I need to finish any of them. And this process gives me a really good starting point so that I can then decide what else I need to make and what else I might want to make. With moving things over this summer, I'm pretty sure I'm missing some stuff, but as of right now, I have kind of realized that I'm not in a great spot. I have a lot of things that I need to make before December rolls around. Fortunately, with craft markets right before the holidays, it's better to have a lot of small items than a lot of big items. Sure, I might sell 1 or 2 of my biggest totes for $150 or $200, but I will sell an entire crap ton of box bags and fabric totes. Those fly off of my tables. I was gonna say shelves, but I don't do shelves. Also, I like to vary what I offer. Yeah, the majority of what I do is leather craft. Bags, totes, clutches, things like that. But because my crafting is not just leather craft, it is sewing and sort of designing, I will sometimes offer quilted items, or I'll offer some D&D campaign planners that I designed and have printed through Amazon. And that just provides a little bit more variety for the folks that are coming through while still sort of being within my niche, if that makes any sense at all. Once I have my to make list, I will start just knocking out production. And typically, I go for the easiest things first because at least then it makes me feel productive. So for this weekend, for instance, the easiest things for me to start on were key rings and can koozies. Am I gonna get all the koozies sewed up this weekend? Absolutely not. But at least I'll have them punched out so that maybe I can sit on the couch and just work on them as I'm watching TV. Recently, I found a YouTube channel, Christine's Home Affairs, and she talks about making things in bulk, basically. So because I sell so many fabric totes from upcycled fabrics, I'm going to try to integrate some of her practices into getting those totes done quickly. This woman can knock out a fabric tote in 10 or 15 minutes, and I want to be able to do that. That's amazing. One area that I really lack on planning is how I display all of my things. I'm not a designer at all. I put stuff where it's convenient, not necessarily where it's aesthetically pleasing. And I'm really trying to work on that, especially for my craft fair tables. Usually, I grab a couple of boxes and I put things on the table. And maybe around the table and maybe on like a hat rack or something, but it looks pretty haphazardly thrown together and I don't feel like it matches the aesthetic that I'm really hoping to go for. So, because I'm planning in August, I have some time to really consider how I want to display my products. One of the big issues is all of the small things that I make. Key rings, earrings, the small clutches, they kind of get lost with bigger bags and books and boxes and things. So I had bought 4 6+ foot shutters for $10 a piece. And my original intention was to hang it from the lofts in my shop here, almost like a sliding barn door. But because the current layout just doesn't really accommodate that, I have to find some way to use them. So what I've decided to do is take some old door hinges that I was supposed to take over to the Habitat store, but I never did. And they've been riding around in my car for about 6 months. But I'm gonna use those to attach these shutters together and create kind of a screen. And in the slats, I can use S-hooks to hang some of the lighter weight objects. And I'm pretty excited about this. Right now they are white. I will probably paint them to better match my wall back here because again, I want to attempt to actually have some branding. Never had that before. It's always kind of thrown together and I can never figure out what my style is, but I think I'm landing on it and now I need to put it into practice. Also, with my display plans, I guess, I have been collecting these almost brushed gold accessories, hardware accessories that I keep finding. So I'm going to attempt to use these in some way, shape, or form. I have no idea how. This is 100% a toilet paper roll holder, but I don't care. I feel like with craft markets and craft fairs, the products are kind of the easy part. You make what you like, you make what you know how to make, and you make a lot of them. And then you show up and you put them out there and people give you money. The harder part for me, and maybe some other folks as well, is really thinking about branding and pricing. And that includes signage as well. As I said, for me, branding has always been a problem. I've never really had an aesthetic, but I've kind of been landing more on this like dark apothecary-esque sort of style, and I think that's the direction I want to go with everything that I put out there, but I'm not good at it. Those of you that watched my mural video probably remember that I used Midjourney AI to design the pattern for that, and then I just projected it up there. So I'm going to do the same thing with more branding stuff. My plan is to use Midjourney to create kind of like a store sign. I think it would be really cool on the front of my workshop to have a store sign, and to go along with that to have matching price tags, brand stickers, all sorts of other things. I think I'd love to have a maker's mark at some point that you can stamp into leather. That's gonna take me a while. I have ideas, but putting those ideas into practice and then not getting tired of them is really hard for me. However, if I want to continue doing this, if I want to continue doing craft markets or craft fairs, then I think it's important to establish my overall look as a brand. So if you're looking to do your own craft fairs and your own craft markets, it's something to think about. It's definitely not a requirement, especially if you're just getting into it. But if it's something that you think you might want to do over and over again, or you might want to expand, then really thinking about your branding, I think, is important. Luckily, a lot of people are a lot better at it than I am. Finally, going into craft markets, pricing is always an issue. My pricing is horrible. I know what the formula is. You take the cost of your goods, you decide how much you want to be paid per hour, and I think that you should go high on that. I don't think there's anything wrong with pricing yourself at $25, $50 an hour. And then you time how long it takes to make an item, you add all of those things together, and then you double it. And that's supposed to be the price of the item. You should absolutely do that. You should absolutely follow that formula. Get paid what you are worth. If you're just starting out and you don't think your skills are quite there, you can always go low for the first market or two, but if people are buying your stuff, there's a market for your stuff, and you should be paid to make the things that you are making. I believe that people who buy handmade things understand that they are paying more for the handmade part. And I think there are a lot of people that are happy to do that. So why I'm stuck on underpricing all my things doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's my logic brain, and then there is my you're not good enough brain. We gotta fight through the you're not good enough brain to listen to the logic. So let's take a simple mouse pad. This particular one is made out of bison. Bison is approximately $7 a square foot, and this is 9 by 9. So $7 a square foot, but this is 75% of that. So just the cost of the materials is about $5.25. Now, it probably takes me 10 minutes to make this. 3 or 4 minutes to just cut it out, and then I will take it over to the sewing machine and I'll just sew a border around it. So about 10 minutes to do a 9 by 9 mouse pad. If I want to charge myself $25 an hour, I don't know what 10 minutes would be. How many dollars is that? I'm bad at math. Okay, you guys are gonna have to check me on this. So if I make $25 per 60 minutes, if I divide that, then I make about 42 cents per minute. So if it's gonna take me 10 minutes to make this, that's $4.20 in labor. And so I would add that 420 to the 525, and this one mouse pad should cost about $9.50. Now, I will charge more than that because $10, even to my little brain, seems a little low. So I'll probably put 15 on it, mark it as bison, and that seems pretty fair. However, this particular bison, it was only $2 a square foot, which means that total cost of just the materials on this is less than $2. So even if I were to price this particular one at $10, my profit is pretty good. But that also doesn't account for, oh, that's where I missed it, is the doubling part. Oh, so if I go back to my original number of $9.50 and I double it, then really this should be about $19. That makes sense. Yep, because I was thinking 18 for this is probably where I'm looking at. Brain. With all of my really, really smart math skills, as I go forward and prep for this craft fair, I am going to look more carefully at my pricing because apparently I have no idea how to math. Now, I will probably still price sort of intuitively based on the market that I'm with. When I post things online, especially when I had stuff in Etsy, I would price it differently than I did at the markets because I have to account for shipping, I have to account for Etsy fees, and all of the other businessy stuff that kind of go into that. Whereas the market is a little more cut and dry, and I feel like I can cut out some of those extraneous dollars or cents. I don't know where I'm going with this, but you should price yourself the way that you feel compensated. The end. Okay, moving on. So what have we learned today? Other than the fact that I don't know how to do math and I've probably lost out on many dollars in profits, getting ready for a craft market is a lot of work. It's almost a part-time job in and of itself. However, it's doable. And if you're a maker, if you make things just for fun and they are collecting around your house, I would highly recommend getting into some sort of fair. It's a great way to get your name out there, build some connections within communities, but also, if nothing else, maybe you can recoup some of the expenses that you incurred just tooling around and making stuff for fun. I'm not an advocate for selling your stuff just because you have a hobby, but for some people, that hobby is what they want to do for a living. From one craft fair novice to another, I hope that you found this video somewhat interesting. If there's any experienced craft fair people out there, please let me know what I'm not thinking of because I'm sure there's a lot. I wish you the best of luck in prepping for anything that you are trying to get into, and give this video a like and then subscribe so that you can keep track of my craft fair updates and other projects that I have coming along, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! So rather than having 3 weeks to set up for this, I'm trying to have... What? What? Hold on. Hey, Gracie! Oh my gosh, you're so big. For anybody wondering, Grace is pretty much back to normal. She was feeling real down for a while, and she wouldn't eat, which is weird for her because she eats everything all the time. And she didn't really want to move. So we got a little scared, and we're still not 100% sure if she's okay, but right now she's eating, drinking, peeing, pooping, barking like normal. So fingers crossed that she's okay. Who knows?